All of these women have something in common. They are wearing the uniform of a man. In the United States today, many brave women have defied gender norms and entered a male-dominated profession. Is there an underlying cause for women choosing these occupations? How do they feel day in and day out? How might they cope in such a high-stress environment? Starting in the 1800s, women entered the workforce. However, along with children, they were exploited for profits by factory owners. In the 1940s came World War II, and thus a need for women to fill the jobs of the men that left for war. This time, they came to stay, empowered by icons such as Rosie the Riveter. In 1964, a major milestone for all minorities came in the form of the Civil Rights Act. This piece of legislation makes discrimination based on sex, race, religion, color, or national origin within the workplace illegal. Another milestone came for women and families in the workplace with the Family and Medical Leave Act, which allows leave to be taken for the birth of children and other major family events. Today, women make up about half of the workforce, although they are paid much less than their male counterparts. A contributing factor for this pay difference is the lack of balance within specific careers. As previously mentioned, women make up roughly half of the labor force. Despite the genders being roughly equal in total, many careers are heavily skewed toward one gender or the other. The pink represents women and the black represents men. Typically, women occupy less leadership careers, although as seen by the chief executives, this is slowly changing. Of special note are computer network architects, only 9.2% women, firefighters, only 3.3% women, and police officers, only 17.6% women. Some highly female-dominated careers include secretaries at 93.2%, preschool teachers at 98.7%, and social workers at 81.9%. Other gender-dominated careers are featured in the infographic. The reasons why women enter male-dominated careers vary from person to person and from profession to profession. However, the challenges these women generally face remain the same. Among the most known challenges is a lack of income. On average, women make less than their male counterparts within the same career. According to Glassdoor, the professions with the largest wage gap between genders are pilots, chefs, and C-suite jobs. Additionally, women in male-dominated careers face a lack of support, contributing to not only feeling as though they have no voice, but also to seeking alternative career fields. Income inequality and lack of support are both very large contributors to many other challenges that women face, especially regarding familial values and the time and commitment needed to raise a family. Because of the challenges that working in a male-dominated profession bring, most women have found various ways of dealing with these challenges. Of course, it's important to emphasize that each woman may deal with these challenges in their own ways. These are simply found to be the most popular. First, women may start to adopt male tendencies. This tends to give these women a sense of fitting in with their colleagues, however, can also normalize male-dominated careers. Next, women can also turn to intrinsic values that they personally hold. This can take the form of pursuing a passion or accepting the struggle and pushing through. In addition, women also turn to mentors who have experienced similar situations. Mentors are a good source for advice and conversation about ongoing issues. In addition, managers can open up conversation in a way in which every employee is given a chance to speak. There are also methods managers may use for allowing employees to air grievances in a safe manner. Lastly, many women can turn to their relationships in order to handle various situations. Some women find it important to discuss their day with friends and family, opening up discussion for any problems that they might be having. In order to capture the true nature of women working in male-dominated occupations, I have interviewed 2 women currently in law enforcement and 2 women that are former law enforcement. The interview questions, as well as a summary of each interviewee's answers, will be displayed.
10-4, that's the one he's heading towards.
Where? went that way. We're going to check that house right there.
Is he in the woods right here?
Yes. That was the last place to be.
Oh! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! I'll shoot you! Get down! Get down! Get down! Get down! Get down! Get down! Head behind your back! Head behind your back!
1345, we're above you on Trent.
751, I got him.
Corporal Deanna Marshall, seen in the previous clip, has been featured both in the studio and in the field on A&E's hit television show LivePD. She is currently serving with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department in Alabama. When asked if she has experienced unequal treatment in the workplace due to her gender, she expressed that while she has not directly, she has witnessed it happen to a female coworker. Corporal Marshall states that this is due to her intense nature and the fact that she would not stand for being treated differently. Next, when asked if being female brought forth unique challenges, she mentioned physicality, although she also believes that her intense nature offsets this. Interestingly, she describes overcoming this by telling male suspects that they would win in a physical altercation, meaning she might need to use lethal force. Lastly, she expresses that female officers tend to be better with verbal disagreements, largely due to the male ego. Corporal Marshall feels as though her workload is the same as her male counterparts and feels that being female gives her a better support system rather than no support system. Additionally, she feels as though women shy away from taking part in these fields due to fear of how they will be perceived. Corporal Marshall also mentioned that due to an inability to handle workloads, women might feel the need to prove themselves more, contributing to lack of female representation. Currently, she feels as though male-dominated careers have a competitive dynamic, although as men are becoming more used to working with women, they are becoming more widely accepted in the workplace. She even stated that she feels that the workforce is becoming an equal partnership between genders.
Feel that being a female is a disadvantage just based off size or people, not necessarily. There's still a stigma about female officers, as much as I hate to say it. It's still there. But sometimes I feel like it almost benefits me. If I show up to a call and there's, 2 other male officers already on scene and they're talking to someone and you've got testosterone levels all over the place, sometimes having a female come in, I'm still, an authority figure, but I don't bring the same air into the situation, I guess. It's kind of like sometimes it de-escalates and we can still get the job done without bumping heads so much.
Officer Katherine Raby, also previously featured on LivePD, is currently serving with the Salinas Police Department in California. She did not express experiencing any unequal treatment, although she mentioned that many females feel the need to prove that they are just as capable as male officers and that females were often not taken as seriously. Similarly, the only challenge that Officer Raby has experienced as a female in law enforcement is ensuring that she is as capable as men at responding to calls. When asked if her workload is directly impacted by her gender, she simply answered, "Not at all." Additionally, she expressed that after a bad shift, she turns to family and friends, although she finds this similar to any job and does not utilize any coping mechanisms specifically for law enforcement. Officer Raby states that women might not enter male-dominated professions for fear of not being able to do the job. However, she also says that women make good officers due to their ability to comfort and provide compassion, something that male officers might struggle with. She does not view the job dynamic as neither good or bad, but rather different. Officer Raby mentions that law enforcement might be one of few male-dominated occupations left, with her department only having 14 out of 140 officers being female. Special Agent Grayson is former U.S. Air Force, having served for 13 years. She experienced gender discrimination in the beginning of her career, working security forces in the Air Force as the only female on her team of 15 to 20. During this time, she also experienced sexual harassment. Interestingly, Special Agent Grayson says that it was when she earned rank that she experienced a challenge, balancing a feminine and masculine persona. She says that being too feminine meant she wasn't taken seriously, but being too masculine resulted in being called derogatory names. Additionally, Special Agent Grayson felt that she needed to work much harder than her male counterparts after they speculated that she received promotions because she's a girl. This didn't start to subside until she outscored her colleagues in tests and training exercises. Special Agent Grayson expressed that finding a woman that understood the frustrations she was experiencing made the situation easier. She also mentioned that finding a group of women with the same drive and work ethic that she held was beneficial. Special Agent Grayson believes that women might not join male-dominated careers because it is often looked down upon for them to take time off to care for a sick child or deal with some other family emergency, yet it often falls to women to take care of. When asked about the dynamic of these professions, she states that it depends on your work ethic and personality. Special Agent Grayson believes that if women are go-getters in a male-dominated setting, they will be taken seriously. Special Agent Kirschner is a former FBI agent with 22 years of experience. She explains that females could not be agents until 1972, thus many male agents were still not open to females becoming agents. However, while she did not experience inequality, there was still some bias towards male agents for appointment to specialized duties. Special Agent Kirschner mentions that there were times that subjects, witnesses, or victims would not want to talk to her due to her gender, often stemming from cultural or religious beliefs. Because of some of these beliefs, she experienced other countries not allowing females to take part in certain careers. Special Agent Kirschner does not believe that her workload was impacted by her gender, but rather the better the job was done, the more work an agent would be assigned. She discussed that she didn't find much of a need to turn to any specific coping mechanisms, but that sweets were her downfall. She did, however, mention that at times her work relationships were awkward due to always working with men. When asked why women might not join male-dominated careers, Special Agent Kirschner said that there is a large time commitment required, which might lead to family issues, especially for mothers. Additionally, she mentions that women might not want to handle weapons or the physicality associated with working in law enforcement. Lastly, she believes that the better a female is at her job, the more respect she will receive. The more successful Special Agent Kirschner was, the more other agents would ask her for assistance, no matter her gender. In conclusion, it seems as though females working in military law enforcement face the largest challenges. One reason this could be occurring is because, like Corporal Marshall and Officer Raby, who work for an individual department, it might be easier to implement changes and better support their female officers. On the contrary, the military is an incredibly large organization, and it would take a lot of work and effort to change the ways in which it operates. With this being said, most officers said they actually had not experienced inequality due to their gender, and that if either gender worked hard enough, they would begin to see success. One challenge that all of these women agreed on was the physicality of their career. However, they also agreed that although men might handle a physical altercation better, women would be more likely to contain the situation verbally so that it did not reach a physical point. Lastly, one of the major reasons why these experienced professionals thought women might not join male-dominated professions was due to having families to take care of. However, as time goes on, many women are joining law enforcement, and they're certainly needed.